Wherefore he said, God resisted the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. So one of the ways to receive grace is to deliberately humble yourself. Humility is not something that God does for you. Humility is what you initiate yourself. It's a virtue. I used to hear people say, God humble me. Never pray that prayer. The humility of God is a bad one. If God humbles you, He will allot something to you that you will live with forever. It's better for you to deliberately humble yourself than for God to humble you. Ask Nebuchadnezzar. For 7 years he was eating grass. Ask Jacob that had pride. You know what happened to him? That time he fought with an angel. The angel broke his thigh. He started limping. That is an act of humility. So that anytime he wants to go astray and he remembers when he met with God, he will humble himself. It's a fearful thing for God to humble a man. You know why Apostle Paul was epileptic? Go and read 2 Corinthians chapter 12 from verse 1 downward. It was because Paul has a problem of pride. It was based on the pride of Apostle Paul that God now said, because of the revelation I'm giving to you, once you now start feeling you are bigger, I'm going to allow a Satan from hell to torment you. So even when he was praying, no help came for him. The reason is because God deliberately left that suffering to come just to humble him. I hope you know that Job was one of such. Job was a righteous man, but Job was not always in God's presence. Because when the sons of the Lord gathered in God's presence, where was Job? He's a son of God, but he was busy offering early morning sacrifices for the preservation of his children. So he loved his children more than the activities of God. And God said, okay. Now God caused it and he said, come, have you considered my servant Job? Go and humble that guy for me. Don't touch him, but humble him. I have an auntie. This my auntie refused to answer call because she loved things of life. She loved to enjoy her husband's wealth till she gave birth her first son, when he became epileptic. God allowed it. Trying to solve that issue, she now humbled herself and started going to church. Is in going to church, now became a worker in the church because pastor told her the way your son will be healed is that you will become a worker. So she became a worker. The son was not yet healed. She became a minister. The son was not yet healed. She now finally started having a women ministry. Yet the son was not healed. That was a way of God humbling her. God knew that if I heal this boy, you will go back to the world. Finally, when God now saw she was committed, God now took the boy. So it is a fearful thing for God to come and humble you. For God to say, you don't want to humble yourself. He can give you an affliction perpetually. There are some people that have cancer today. I'm sorry to say this. God deliberately allowed it to be so. Remember our father and the Lord said something. Because of the level God was taking him, he took him to a place. He said, draw something on the floor. Our father and the Lord drew. He said, clean it. He said, the day pride enters you, this is how I wipe you out in the heart of men. And God was not joking. You see, pomposity, it is what will make grace to be far from you. So the best way to receive grace is to humble yourself. I've trained myself with the ability to give. Because I understand one time, one of the weaknesses I had is that I quickly get attached to things. If things come around me, I start glorying in them. And because of that, God now started teaching me the art of giving. Because in giving, that thing that attached my soul will be able to go out. And then humility can find expression. Because the moment you begin to attach your hope on something that is mundane, humility will be far from you.